Hello and welcome to the Carbon Copy podcast. I'm Isabel Sparrow, and in this, the last of our themed mashup episodes compiled from conversations we recorded during the Running Out of Time relay, we're focusing on climate and nature education and programmes in schools. Carbon Copy is a UK charity all about inspiring more action for climate and nature. We have a collection of 1,000 amazing stories from across England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland on our website. So if you're looking for your next idea to make a difference in your community, check out the link in the show notes and take a look. Our first guest in this episode is Lizzie Gimblett, founder of Pupils Profit, a brilliant organisation helping children and young people learn business skills at the same time as improving environmental sustainability.
I'm Lizzie Gimblett. I'm founder of Pupils Profit, and Pupils Profit started off combining enterprise with healthy tuck shops, and that's about a decade ago. And into November 2019, I had this idea which involved changing a tuck shop into a refill shop that could be run by children, so they'd still develop enterprise skills, but they'd be able to do something practical to support the environment. I did lots and lots of funding applications, and eventually I got some seed funding from the GLA, and that enabled me to create a pilot of schools. From that pilot, we started working with Hounslow Council and London on an ultra-low waste neighbourhood. And then, we've worked with Wandsworth and Richmond Council, Kingston Council, Essex County Council, Greater Manchester councils. And how the refill shops work is the children take it as a business project and they write their own business plan and apply for job roles, and then they operate it, and they're selling refills of environmentally responsible, eco-friendly washing up liquid, hand wash, body wash, laundry liquids, etc., to the parent, carer, staff community. And those people will bring along containers either to refill, or they'll forget them and they'll say, "Oh, it's okay, we've got one you can have if you like." So people get into the habit of refilling through the school refill shops, and I think children learn a lot about the challenges around the environment when they're at school. What would be wonderful is if they kept learning more and more and more about what we can actually do about that at an individual level. We'll only get so far by focusing on who should be doing what, not us. And equally, if we just focus on us, we'll only get so far. So for me, everybody needs to do more, and I need to do more. And I think we all know that we can do more. And so with the refill shop, we're asking people to stop purchasing new containers. And, we don't realise when we go to a shop, we're purchasing a new container when we buy body wash. We just think, oh, I'm buying body wash. But actually, the reality is we're buying something that's been extracted from the ground, and that has an implication on emissions and the climate, and it's been transported. It's used for a ridiculously short amount of time, and then it goes into waste. And we think, oh, it's okay, it's been recycled. Well, recycling has a carbon impact, and it's obviously better than it being incinerated, but it's not really the full answer. And so actually reuse where we can is brilliant. And so we have these amazing children taking shampoo home in their drink containers, in their a lot of fizzy drink containers, sadly, but anyway. Off it goes home, it gets decanted into a container at home and used again. And with every container that they refill is a container saved from waste near enough forever, which is brilliant. So it's really empowering the children to participate in a very positive way in how we buy stuff. We're also actually reminding their parents' generation that refill exists, and there are refill shops around, but not that many. And actually, we don't really focus on how much money they've made. We focus on how many containers they've saved from waste. That is the profit from our perspective, and how many skills the children build through running the shop. We're working with Essex County Council as part of Essex Year of Numbers, and they're very interested in obviously the volumes and weights and money side of things. And there are many things that schools can pull out of this. Ofsted seem to be very interested in the personal development aspect of it. And then so from 2025, the Department for Education is asking schools to have climate action plans in place. And they, within those, have got 4 pillars. One is building green skills, one is reducing carbon, and one is promoting biodiversity. And the 4th one, I think, is to do with the energy consumption of the school. So we don't have very much to do with that, but actually we are providing skill development within a green arena. We are reducing carbon because we're reducing the amount of new plastics being created and reducing the amount that are being incinerated and so on. And in terms of biodiversity, I think this is a really interesting one in the children's mind. When they are doing this, they are 100% focused on the impact of plastic on the natural environment and all these terrible pictures that we see of turtles and fish trapped in bags. And that's what they are thinking about. So the training resources to date have been 100% physical training resources, and it's required a teacher to open up the toolkit and start using it with a group of children. And that's great because the teacher is involved and, you know, takes ownership with the children of what's happening, and it's worked well. But schools are very, very busy places, and you know, anyone that works with schools knows that they just don't have tons of time to prepare training and think, oh, you know, how's this going to work? And then the data collection, it's, you know, there's so much, you know, relying on people's goodwill to provide the data that they've said they'll collect, but then they just get incredibly busy. So we've got this new platform launching, and what it's going to be is cartoon animations of children telling children how to run eco refill shops and telling them what's involved in the marketing manager's job or what's involved in the buying manager's job. And then they go onto the platform and they can buy the product and they can do their stock takes and they can figure out how many containers they've saved from waste and how their skills are progressing. So it's really, really exciting. It's going to launch in September. It's being piloted at the moment. It's a great way to reduce teach time. They just switch on the training, press play, and everyone listens to Josh or Summer telling them what needs to happen. And then they have still some physical resources, but it's just a listen and do situation, which is much less of a time drain for teachers. It's sort of will be much more child driven.
What an inspiring initiative. We love the child-led approach and the dual benefits that Pupils Profit brings. Our next guest is Richard Pollard, Head of the National Schools Programme at the Tree Council. Richard met us at a school in Southwark to talk about the range of activities the Tree Council offers for schools and education settings.
My name's Richard Pollard. I work for the Tree Council. I'm head of the National Schools Programme and we're at Charles Dickens Primary. The Tree Council is tackling the climate crisis through the schools programme by helping children connect with nature for the benefits this brings to their well-being and health, helping them to develop their skills and knowledge for future jobs within the growing sustainability and environment sector, and helping them to find their voice and speak up to tackle the environmental emergency. We have 3 projects within the schools programme, National Schools Programme, Young Tree Champions, and Orchards for Schools, and a campaign, Force for Nature. And all 3 support schools in tackling the emergency. Specific within those projects, Orchards for Schools is get your hands dirty, practical activities for children of all ages, primary, secondary, special, college, further education, to learn the basic skills needed to plant and grow and care for trees, orchards in particular, which are fantastic for biodiversity. And the Young Tree Champion programme is about building their personal development in schools, giving them the skills they need to tackle the emergency. And the Force for Nature campaign is really a platform to help them speak up. It's and we've developed that into a touring exhibition that travels the UK. It's an immersive experience, Voices of Nature. It's endorsed by Chris Packham, and the intention of it is to give young people an interactive experience in their local area, which allows them to contribute their voice to this campaign to be a force for nature. So the impact the programme's had is we've now planted across the UK, we've planted 160,000 trees, and that's children in schools from Scotland and from Fort William to Penzance, and certainly in very urban inner city environments, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, London. We've engaged over 1.5 million children to take action through the campaign, and 4,000 schools are now on board. The job I do is fantastic. I've got to say, every day there's something new. You get this honourable opportunity to meet children from all over the country who are just so passionate and so believing in the changes that they can make, and it's so lovely to see that happening over time. Some schools have been involved in the project for 3 or 4 years now, and it's a transformation. It's brilliant to see. But I've got to say, coming to this school, Charles Dickens Primary, I've been to hundreds and hundreds of schools, but when I first came here not very long ago, back in March, it's a brilliant school. There's so much going on. You've got classrooms on the roof, you've got playgrounds on the roof, and gardens on the roof, and you've got these amazing spaces in such a tightly packed urban environment. The school is making the most of every single inch of ground space that they have, from Forest School Camp to brilliant sort of areas for children learning outdoors. Every classroom appears to have an outdoor space. And the school takes, recycling and harvesting rainwater and all the sustainable actions that help schools reduce their energy bills very, very seriously. So it's been inspiring. We've taken quite a few of the ideas and we're using them, sharing them across the network. So other schools are very interested in learning more from what Charles Dickens is doing and implementing in their school. So that's been inspiring for sure.
Oh, it's so nice to hear how much Richard loves his job, and we can really see why. The enthusiasm and passion of schools and their pupils is definitely really motivating and encouraging. Next up, we hear from Jo Pettifer of Let's Go Zero, a programme from climate charity Ashden, which is helping schools across the UK get to net zero by 2030.
Hi, I'm Jo Pettifer. I'm the team leader for the Midlands team of Climate Action Advisors who are part of the Let's Go Zero campaign. And Let's Go Zero is a campaign to unite teachers, pupils and parents to work together to be zero carbon by 2030. And the Climate Action Advisors project is a team of amazing people who can support schools one-to-one with really bespoke support to do just that. So Let's Go Zero is part of the wider charity Ashden, which is a global climate solutions charity. Let's Go Zero has been in operation for several years now, over 3, primarily as a campaign place, a place for schools to sign up, to pledge to be on this journey with us to aim towards that goal of zero carbon by 2030, which we know is very much a journey, not a destination, but one that we're all making moves towards. Schools can sign up to that campaign to be part of that community that's pledging that work. And a number of schools, we've just hit 3,000, I think, just over 3,000, so nearly 10% of UK schools. That number, increasing number, has given us a real kind of voice to be heard in the corridors of power. So we work closely with the DfE and government departments to kind of relay that message from schools that the demand is there. The Climate Action Advisors project, of which I'm part of, that's really new. So that's only 7 months old now. And that is a team of, there's going to be 32 of us by the end of the year, most of us already recruited across the regions of England, really giving that bespoke service to schools to really help them get to that Department of Education expectation that they have a climate action plan and a sustainability leadership team in place by 2025, which is zooming up upon us. So it's a really exciting project to be part of right now. So we support schools from wherever they are in their sustainability journey. We meet them and walk with them from that point. So we work within the sort of 4 areas that the Department for Education climate change strategy has really guided schools towards. So decarbonisation, green skills and careers, biodiversity, and adaptation and resilience, which is the really challenging one that schools are kind of having to consider now, really. The heat waves are upon us. We know that we need to adapt and become resilient. So We support schools in all of those areas. We help them to calculate their carbon footprint. So in all 3 scopes, so they know exactly what their sort of emissions responsibility is. And then we co-create with them a climate action plan to reduce those emissions in all areas. So we can link them up with organisations who can support them with their transport, with their energy emissions from their building, with their water, with their waste, with all, all the different areas that become part of a school's kind of responsibility. And we know that school estate is a considerable portion of the emissions responsibility of the country. So if we can support schools, not only can we target that huge estate and huge amount of kind of land, but we can also target an incredible amount of hearts and minds, because not only the children being educated within those schools, but the parents and the governors and the wider community that all hear that same message. So powerful. We know that schools don't have the time, the money, or necessarily the kind of the climate education background to take the action that they want. So that's exactly why our service exists. We're entirely free, and wherever possible, every action we suggest is either free, will reduce their bills in some way, or if it does come with a cost, it's a real clear cost benefit. We exist to connect schools with the incredible organisations that are already out there doing amazing things. So we're a coalition group, really. We link schools up, so they come to us saying we really need help monitoring our energy and reducing it, and we will guide them and recommend them to one of our partners who will help them do just that.
Such a brilliant initiative. If you have school-aged children, or if you work at a school and are interested in finding out about any of the organisations featured on today's episode, check out the show notes for information about getting involved. Our final guest is Michelle Parks from Earth Cubs, a global eco-education organisation helping very young children feel empowered in the face of environmental challenges.
Hello everyone, thank you very much for having me to come and chat today about Earth Cubs. My name is Michelle Parks. I'm the head of growth and impact at Earth Cubs. I've been lucky enough to be there since the very start. Earth Cubs started back in 2020 with the want and the need to bring key environmental and sustainable education and learning to children all around the world, with the aim to inspire and educate over 1 billion children by 2030. We know that key climate education isn't something that's covered on the curriculum on a global basis. And what we wanted to be able to do was make it fun and exciting for kids to learn about the world without being absolutely petrified about what's going on and spiking eco-anxiety. I have 2 young sons, and one of them, when he was about 5, came home in floods of tears because he had been shown a video at school of an orangutan stuck in the top of a tree in Borneo in a burnt out rainforest, but wasn't given any guidance about what that meant and what he could do to actually make an impact himself, despite the fact that he's not in Borneo, and what that sort of positive impact could be. So Earth Cubs was created to try and get kids to feel empowered. So we are stories to learn the world. So lots of really fun videos of lots of cool characters like Nigel the Nervous Narwhal and Antonio the Anteater. And all the content that we do, we link back to the UN's global goals as well. So we want to be able to bring that blueprint for the planet into all of our learnings. And to back up our videos, which are about sort of 6 or 7 minutes long, we have lots of learning resources that teachers can bring into the classroom as well. So everything from assemblies and presentations to shorter video clips, word searches, anything that can sort of help to enhance and embed that learning within young children. We have grown really rapidly since 2020. So we also have a free app which kids can download and explore lots of environments. That's had over 450,000 downloads. We're also in over 7,600 schools in over 130 countries, which equates to about 20 to 30,000 teachers who are using Earth Cubs, which has been amazing. We've had some really positive reactions, obviously, from kids and parents and teachers all around the world. And we're also free, which is obviously great to be able to learn about the environment. We didn't want there to be any barriers, so we're able to be free because we work with awesome mission-aligned organisations like National Grid, Frank Water, Ocean Generation, a private equity firm called 17 Capital, and they allow us to continue to be able to provide awesome content and also in some cases tell their stories. So with National Grid, we wanted to be able to get renewable energy and bring that to children around the world in a really fun and easy to digestible ways. I often find it's the children actually that inspire me. I think the action that you get from them on the ground is actually probably what inspires me the most. I went in recently into a school, and I took a bunch of children out to go on a litter pick. And one of the little girls just turned to me. She was about 6 or 7, and she just said, "This is the best day of my life because I get to help save the planet." And that was just so incredible and so amazing that it makes you want to keep doing what you're doing, because you can see firsthand the children, and you know that I'd like to think our planet's in great hands with the next generation coming up.
What a lovely note to end this school-themed episode on. If you've enjoyed listening, why not leave us a review or a rating, and better still, share the podcast with friends or family. Thank you so much to all our guests for their contributions, and to you for listening. The Carbon Copy podcast is written and presented by me, Isabel Sparrow. Our producer and editor is Bradley Ingham. We'll be back very soon with a brand new series, so until then, goodbye.